hello, hello. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're going to be tuning in and watching this show. I'm your host once again, Treasure Colombe. Welcome to the process. We thank you for all of your continued support. We thank you for all of your feedbacks as you've been tuning in and week out. And I just want to, before we get into today's show, really encourage everyone, if you're watching and these episodes are, speaking to you, if they're blessing you, encouraging, inspiring you, leave a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think about the episodes. We're putting these together so that we can come into your home, into your living room, and hopefully be able to give you a little nugget that helps you in your journey and in your process. Another week, another conversation, and another honor that we really have on our platform to be able to talk with an individual who is multi-talented. He carries many different hats. He does a lot of different things. I think I'm busy and I do a lot, and I think this man might have me beat in that area. And that's really why I wanted him to come in here today so that we could have a great conversation. So I really want you to tune in. He is somebody that I've known very, very long. I think people who know us might say we're related because they see us around each other so much. A dear friend and a dear brother. People give him different names. Some will call him Hoskin. Some will call him Big Brother. Some call him Daddy. Some call him Pastor. So he has a whole bunch of titles. So let me get right into it and introduce him. Hoskin's Kangu. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
I am so happy to have you here today. And I'm so excited for a conversation, because I think it's something that cripples a lot of folks in this time. And I just can't wait for us to get into it. But before we do that, won't you tell the people a bit, who is Hoskin's Kangu? What's all these million hats? So introduce yourself a bit to our audience.
No, Hoskin's Kangu is just a simple guy. I'm just a kid from Hamilton.
That's right.
Pretty much. Like you mentioned in your intro, some people call me brother, some people call me friend, some people call me uncles, and some call me pastor, and some may call me a photographer, videographer. Or a piano man.
Yeah, especially that. You got some skills when it comes to that piano. I be trying to figure it out sometime. I try to get on those keys. I can't do it like you, but you got some skills in that area.
Hey, look, I guess that's what God blessed me with, right? So, and even speaking about the piano, it was just something, growing up, I always wanted to learn how to play because at the very early age, I saw my father was playing. I saw a piano at home, I remember, and he used to play. So, and, well, how African parents are sometimes. So he would play by himself. He didn't really teach me or anything like that. But as a kid, I always wanted to play. And growing up, that's always been back in my head. I want to get into the piano and to play piano. So when I was able to afford, few things, because I started with like FL Studio. For those who know, it's just like a software program in the computer that helps you to write music, to compose music. So I started with that, play with that, and transitioned from that to start playing. And until today, I play by ears. If you give me a music sheet, note, it's Chinese to me.
So you hear it and you get right into it.
Yeah, I hear it and I play right into it. So, and that's when I knew that it was something that was given to me, right? So, because a lot of people, don't have that gift.
Wow.
Be able to hear and just play. So
and you're diving right into it, mentioning already one of your skills, and I know we're going to talk about all your other skills as well, because today I wanted us to talk about stepping out the box, right?
Yeah.
I wanted us to kind of look into what that process looks like. Because, I find there's so many people who are gifted in a lot of things and they can do a lot of other things, but they've been
That's right.
boxed in by a title they have. Maybe now their father, their mother, or they have a certain responsibility, whatever it might be,
Mm.
and they locked into that, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
know I have to do these things. So they're in this box, but have all of these other skills that are inside of them, but won't try to like tackle that. So I wanted us to talk about that. And maybe the first thing I want us to try to look into, why do you think people are so afraid of stepping out the box, like doing something outside of the ordinary? Why do you think people fear stepping out the box like that?
Yeah, I I would say it starts with your community, your people around you, right?
Mhm.
Um, if you have people that only think one way, they're tunnel vision mindset type of people, and tell you, okay, this is what has to be done, and this is what you have to do, and you get stuck, based on that, right? I'll give you an example. Um, lot of I'll say Congolese community, for example, our parents growing up, they'll tell you, you know, once you're gonna start going to school, we want you to become a doctor,
Mhm.
we want you to become a lawyer. So it's like they're already giving you kind of like their vision for
Mhm.
your life.
Mhm.
So growing up, you want to satisfy your parents, so you want to just do things to please them. So you're gonna go maybe in a law school or becoming a doctor. But um, being a doctor or being a lawyer, perhaps it's not something that you want to do deep inside of you. It's not something that you think that you're called to do.
Mhm.
So, but you don't want to disappoint. You don't want to,
Mhm.
uh, d- just disappoint people around your neighborhood, around your surrounding, your
Mhm.
community, your parents. So
Mhm.
you're going to go and trying to do that. So I think the fear is more. I don't want to disappoint my leaders. I don't want to disappoint my parents. I don't want to disappoint the person who raised me, my community. So a lot of time, people like that will try to just stick to one thing,
Yeah.
what people have designed for them, and just so that way they don't disappoint other folks,
Mhm.
because they probably looking up to them, and so that's where the fear of stepping up. I believe it starts from like the community, your people
Your
that surrounding
surrounding,
you,
yeah.
your leaders, and people that you look up to,
Mhm.
giving you a vision or something that is maybe they saw in you, but you don't see that in yourself,
Mhm.
right? So, and you just don't want to disappoint them.
Those people,
And
yeah.
then that's what I feel like that's where the fear comes from.
And I think that's so true, right? That
Mhm.
fear and that disappointment, because we're all creatures of wanting to please people, like
That's
if
right.
it's
Hmm.
family, if it's friends, or whatever it is. And I think it goes back to that notion of like labels,
That's
right?
right. Yep.
We get labeled into something and then we
Hmm.
think that that's the only thing that we can do.
Yep.
And it's like the saying that says, you'll find that if you go to a cemetery, they say, that's where you'll find, the richest and wealthiest people or
Hmm.
whatever, because folks would have lived a whole life and died with those dreams,
That's right.
died with those goals, dies with those ambitions. Why? Because of a label, right? It's
Hmm.
like this is the label, and you can't step out of that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, or
That's right.
fathers don't do this, or pastors don't do this, or
Hmm.
whatever it might be. And I know for you, you've branched out in a lot of different things because of your skills. So,
Yep.
what was the helping factor for you to kind of get out of some of those labels and be like, no, I can be multi-talented and be effective? Like, what helped you to branch out into all of your other skills?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it was more. I used to do a lot of things behind the scene. I would always want to try few things. I will look at, for example, the bike stopped working. For example, I was trying to figure out, okay, why is it not working? What's
Mm-hmm.
wrong with the wheels? What's wrong with the bike itself? So I'll look into that. And before going to a repair shop, I was trying to figure out myself how to repair it. And back in the days we didn't have YouTube, but nowadays YouTube has become, a professor, a teacher, or
Yeah,
mentor.
everything.
Everything. If you wanna learn how to drink water, go on YouTube. Right?
So true.
Somebody will teach you how to drink water, right?
Yeah.
So I always trying to figure out before going to the professional if I can, trying to do it, trying to fix it, trying to bring a resolution to the problem at hand. So I used to do a lot of things, try a lot of things in the background, and that has developed many of my skills that I have today. Because what you see today, what I'm doing now, is the work that I've put for 10, maybe 20 years, and now people gets to see what I've been doing behind the scene. So what really helped me is actually my wife. Once I was married, my wife discovered, of course, behind the scene, I'm doing a lot of things,
Yeah.
right? So, and then she would say to me, like, why don't you go, like, do that for somebody else? Because people are willing to pay for your service, right? Then I'm like, no, I just do it for fun. It's just for my own sake. I just like to, figure out things and do things. And at that time, she was looking at when I was doing the flyers, right? So I was doing the flyer just for, for my own time, just for my pleasure. So, and she's like, well, that's very nice. I mean, you can put your work out there and let people know that this is what you do. Yeah. And you never know, because some people get paid for just doing that. And to me, it was just like, it's whatever. And one time, I think what she has done, I did one of my work. I sent her what I've done, and she posted it. And that created a lot of, noise here and there, and people liked it and began to ask, oh, who did this, who did that? And so from that, and I was able to see, or at least build the confidence that, hey, I can reach that, I can come
there.
out of the closet here, and then I show to the world what I can offer, right? So, and then so that's what I would say. It took someone like my wife to tell me, hey, step out.
Yeah. and that's so true. And I really want to encourage people who are listening to us to get that, right? Because in labels, you have people who believe in you.
Yeah.
Like, you have people who see those other sides of you, right? Where everybody else can tell you, like, no, you can't do this. But there is, like you said, it could be our wives, it could be, our friends, it could be colleagues, or whoever, that are kind of like, no, yeah, you're gifted in that. Because I think about that in response to my book, right?
Yep.
If you haven't had a chance, go order Reborn, Hope Never Dies.
That's right.
But I think about that with the book, because a lot of it, like, I knew I could write, but I was never writing. And it was just people telling me, like, yo, you could write. Man, you need to write a book. And I kept hearing it, and it would annoy me at times, right? Like, colleagues, I would walk in, they'd be like, that book ready? Like, that book done? Is that book done? So sometimes you need those people, to kind of just give you that boost. And it's important to hear them, right?
That's right.
And I think that, in the world that we live in, especially if we look at it from a faith perspective, right? People think, or I assume, right, that there's only one way we can branch out that good news, that gospel, where I believe that, we are multitask people, and there's so many different avenues. You mentioned it yourself. There's YouTube, there's Instagram, there's TikToks. Like, there's so many different avenues you could use to be able to not only demonstrate your gift, but within that, you know what I mean? Show that good news. Speak to that a little bit, how we shouldn't limit ourselves to something, but utilize all of these outlets, because it's another way that we can talk about Christ.
Yeah. No, definitely. I don't know if, I'll get a lot of, comment here for what I'm about to say, but I believe, especially when we talk about faith in the church, we are stuck kind of like in the bubble. Here's the 5 things that you're supposed to do, either if you're pastor, prophet, teacher, bishop, evangelist, so forth. But then what I think we as a church community of Christ, that we need to start also teaching the people is that, you can be anointed, you can be
Mhm.
powerful
Mhm.
at work,
Right.
teaching or preaching to people at work, right?
Mhm.
And you can be a doctor
Mhm.
and reaching out to people there.
Mhm.
You can become a lawyer and reaching out and spreading the gospel there as well. It's not we can't just limit God in the walls of the church,
Mhm.
because we really need to step out.
Yeah.
If even the Word of God said that we need to go out to the end of the world, right, and preaching the gospel, and it's not just the church, but it's
Mhm.
actually the whole world outside.
Mhm.
So um, we really need to look at that, and as leaders, as fathers or big brothers, we need to start looking at that and making sure that we are helping people to really seeing beyond,
Beyond
beyond the
that.
walls,
Mhm.
that there is greater things
Mhm.
that can be done, not just in the four corners or four walls, not just in a specific, in the church and things like that. But I believe if we all put our minds together, we can be effective in all the areas around the world, right?
Mhm.
And I don't need to be, or let me put it this way: being a pastor doesn't mean that you have to, remain at the church with the mic and just preach to the crowd,
Mhm.
but you can be also effective in, let's say, in the area of whatever particular business that you are doing,
Mhm.
and you can reach out and you can preach to the people over there,
Mhm.
and you don't necessarily need the mic at church, but you can also have, your voice that you have
Mhm.
in whatever uh, things that you do in life, that you can voice, your faith. You can, preach. You can talk to people over there,
Mhm.
and bring the good news.
Mhm.
So because I know sometimes we are limited. You feel
Yeah.
like we're limited, but today's society, the technology that we have today, we can really reach out from here in Canada
To anywhere in the
to
world.
anywhere in the
Yeah.
world. We can
Exactly.
really reach out, and so we have to use or utilize these avenues, these technology that it's at hand, just to be able to help out,
Mhm.
reach, and then really get a point across
Great
throughout the
point
world.
across. And
So
I
we
think
can't
so.
just
Yeah.
limit ourselves
To those four walls.
to the four
Yeah, we
walls.
can
We
step
can't.
out.
We
Yeah.
we need to step out and utilizing the technology.
Mhm.
Some folks who think, no, technology, that's for this is for this purpose. But why not use
Mhm.
what's there
Mhm.
to preach Christ,
Yeah.
to bring the gospel, to
Mhm.
bring the good news to people?
And that's so true because I think about stepping out of the box, and I think about there are certain people you're not going to reach with your
That's right.
with the sort of with the traditional aspect of things,
Yeah.
right? And those people you have to, or you'll only reach them by you tapping into that skill, tapping into that gift, or applying that knowledge that you have in another area. But then you'll have people, Huskins, who will be like, I would love to step out the box.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would love to try something. I would love to go ahead and apply myself, but they're afraid, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
afraid of like, yo, if I fail, am I gonna do this? Am I gonna lose my way? Because that's a big one. You know what I mean? It might be like, am I gonna lose my way maybe as a Christian, or if I'm a father, am I gonna mess up my responsibilities at home because I'm out here trying to chase these dreams and stuff like that? So what kind of advice would you give people based on your experience and some of the stuff you've done to reassure them that, hey, no, stepping out the box don't mean that you forget your responsibility or that you stop being a Christian or that you give up your other offices, pastor and
Mm-hmm.
everything else, but that it's just, that management, that discipline. So what are some advice you could give someone afraid to step out? Could they either feel that they will lose themselves or that they're going to mess up in those other things and not be able to maintain it?
Yeah. Well, I would say to in life you just have to give it a try. You know, especially for those who are you feel like there's more you can give. Because there's some folks that they feel, I mean, I'm boxed out. I feel like I'm in a bubble. I know I can give more. I know I can do more. And I would say just give it a try. And you never know, right? But I'll give my example for you. For instance, I mean, I do quite some things. I mean,
Quite some things.
yeah, yeah. I do videos. I do photography. I do uh, design flyers and and doing logos from playing piano and being a father, being a pastor. I mean, I do few things, right? So one thing that I guess it helped me was more. I was spending time on each of those skills that I thought it came natural to me, and spending a little bit of time here and there in the secret, and then until I became a little, if I can say, professional a little bit, because I spent a lot of hours, right? Just making sure I'm perfecting my craft. So and doing all of that, it was, of course, there was time consuming, a lot of sacrifice, but I had a goal, I had a vision. My fear was more, hey, at first it's too much, I can't put it out there. Of course, we heard the preaching or we heard a message that said, just focus on one thing and that's it. It's good, right? I get when people say just focus, put all your energy in one thing and that's it. But let's say, if we're talking about business, in business, they say you can't put all the eggs in one basket. You have to diversify, right? You have to put some here, some there, and things like that. Because if one basket, one, eggs in this area doesn't work out, but then you have other areas, right? So, and that's how I look with the gift, with the talent and skills that you have. You got to be able not to put everything in one basket, but be able to try a few things here and there, and then and I'm sure it's going to bring some rewards afterwards. But you have to be able to step out. Life is about taking risk, calculate a risk.
That's important. Calculate a risk.
Calculate a risk, and you just have to try. You just have to try, and hopefully that turns out to be something great. And if not, at least you can say to yourself, hey, I give it a try and it didn't work out. A lot of people have that fear, right? Failing and having so-called label of a failure. But if you don't try, then you'll never know what's in the other wall, behind your limits. You'll never know. And there's one quote from that I love very much from Dr. Miles Monroe. He said that, if I remember correctly, no man can climb beyond the limitation of its own belief. So if you believe that you cannot do it,
that means you can't.
Then you can.
Yeah, that's powerful.
You're never going to climb that mountain.
That's powerful.
But the day you're going to realize that, hey, I can do it. I can do it. Maybe I don't have the tools yet, but I can do it. Changes everything.
Yeah,
it really changes everything, because now your body's going to start working towards getting those tools, getting those things that are necessary for you to climb that wall, for you to climb that mountain. So it all starts in the head. It all starts you just assessing the risk, right? If it's calculate good risk, if you can go and if you can achieve it,
then you take it on.
And then you take it on and then just give it a try.
And that's so amazing, because you say that, like, the inability, like, you're limited to your perception. You're limited to your perception. And I attach that, I'm thinking scriptures also tells us, like, the Bible says, show me your faith without your works, and I'm going to show you mine by my works, right? So stepping out the box is just that. I think it's trusting yourself. And I think for folks who fear that they're going to fail or they're not going to meet the standards, it's like, well, just apply yourself. Like the routine that you have, your daily disciplines, having a good schedule, making sure that you're managing your time properly, right? Like understanding that time is an asset, and being able to manage it properly and utilizing that, and then letting that risk take care of itself.
That's
like
right.
You can never know. You can never know how it will benefit people. You can never know what it will do for people. And it could be the one thing that somebody somewhere is waiting for.
That's
right? Like that one idea you have could be the one thing somebody's waiting for. It could be the answer to someone's prayer. It could be that life-changing circumstance. But if we're just like crossing our arms and don't want to do it, then we're limiting so much,
That's right.
right?
Yep.
People's ability to excel and to be able to grow,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think as well that taking risk or stepping out the box doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna stop the things that are important.
No, not at all.
You know, I had folks tell me when we started the process, they're like, "Are you closing the church? Like, are you no longer a pastor?" I'm like, "What? How did you make that correlation?"
Yeah,
Type of
yeah.
thing, right? Like, how did you make that correlation? So, I mean, you're very successful in the things that you're doing right now, and you're benefiting from them. So, you know, those people who want to keep folks boxing, right?
Mm.
Those people who want to keep people, you know, locked into one particular kind of way. Can you encourage them that you can be successful in being multi-talented, so that they can launch in? Because I really feel that even in this new year, that there's a lot of people who have bottled up so much,
That's right.
right? So as
Mm-hmm.
we're getting close to the end here, I want you to, you know, stare into these people's eyes and really as they're listening to you and kind of boost them, like get them out of that place of slumber and
Yeah.
tell them that, hey, it's possible, you can do it, and
Mm-hmm.
you need to get on it right now. So, bro,
Yep.
I'll give it to you. Please boost our audience and get us motivated.
All right. Well, to that person, wherever you are listening to us today, whenever you're gonna have the time to listen to this, I just want to tell you that being multi-talented is a gift, and it's also a responsibility that God has given to you, and to be able to utilize those talents and helping out people in the world. Because imagine if you don't utilize the talents or the gift that God has given to you, then you are doing us a disservice. Because if God had given you those talents, those skills, it was for you to put in this display to help me out in whatever business, whether it's in my faith, whether it's for my life. It was to help me out so that way I can be also successful. Because if you're really looking at it, it's all connected all together. Your gift, my talent, we are connected to make us successful, to make us reach our goals and our purpose in life. So I just want to let you know that it's okay. It's okay, and to have the thoughts that what if I try and it doesn't work? Everybody has those thoughts. Even the greats that we know of today, or you can consider greats in the world, the Bill Gates and the Jeff Bezos and stuff, they all failed. Steve Jobs, they all failed before we know Apple, the successful company and product that we have today. A lot of failures took place in the early age, in the early stage, for Apple to be the way it is today. So I would say just try, continue to try, and don't box yourself in, right? And making sure that having all those multi-talented, it is a gift, it is yours, and it is your ability that God has given to you to utilize those gifts. So don't let anybody to box you in, and put you in a corner, put you in that box, but utilize what you have to step out and reach out, because those skills uh, uh, God has given to you to help me,
Mm.
to help us,
Mm-hmm.
to also reach our goal and reach our purpose. So whatever you are, whatever you do, making sure that you always moving forward. Uh, of course, work on your craft, and don't let anybody to box you in.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let the noise community. I will even go as far as say leaders, because sometimes they will put us in our box. So don't let those people put you in a box, but step out of the box and utilize your talent,
Mm-hmm.
put it into practice, and the rest is gonna be history.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you guys heard that. And I hope you guys heard the one part where he says, your gift is there to help me. Like, that was powerful. Like, And folks, listen, your gift, what you have, the skills, the talents, the knowledge, the ability that you have, you might think that it's just for you that you do those things, but it's to serve somebody else. Because when you produce that video, when you write that book, when you start that business, when you go out in your work and you talk, whatever it is that you're gifted at, when you do it, you know, you may get the applaud, but you have no idea how it's serving somebody else. So I hope we really took that in, that it's okay to step out the box. It's okay to take risk. It's okay to try something. And like Hoskin said, failing does not mean that you're a failure, right? Failing does not mean that you're a failure. Just mean it's a lesson learned, maybe to do it better or
That's
to do it differently. But take a risk in this new year and step out and try something new. So Huskins, I know, you mentioned you do flyers, you do everything. So before we close, tell folks where can they follow you on social media if somebody needs a video done. Listen, all our flyers, all our videos, it comes from this man. So if you think our graphics look sick, it's because we got somebody, like you said, behind the scene that does it. So where can folks follow you online if they want a video done, if they want to look at some of your work and inquire of information? Where can they follow you? Give us all the handles so they know where to go.
You can follow me on Instagram, Eden Media, so EDEN Media. Facebook as well, the same name, Eden Media, and that's where you're going to see my work, and you can contact me through there, and we can start from there. You can DM me, because nowadays that's where that's how we talk. That's a business call. You can DM, and or if you want to email me, you can email me at Eden Media Production at gmail.com. So Eden Media Production at gmail.com. And hopefully, I get to talk to you, and I get to show my skills, my talents. So, and by the way, that logo right there, I did it.
A low plug right there. So since he's plugging himself, I'm going to plug him here as well. You see this book cover? He did it as well. So make sure, if you haven't gotten your book yet, Reborn Hope Never Dies, go on Amazon. It's available, ebook and the paperback. It will be a blessing to you and a blessing to someone else. Hoskin, thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you for the time. Thank you for the wisdom. Continued success. And when you have some time in the future, we'd love to have you back here in our platform to bless us some more. So thank you so much for coming today, bro.
No problem. No, thank you for having me.
Oh, definitely. And thank you to all of our viewers. I hope this conversation again has helped you in one way to continue on your journey and in your process. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're sharing these videos. Leave some comments. Let us know what you think about the process, and make sure to tune in next week on our next episode. Until then, stay blessed, stay safe, wear your mask. I'll see you next week.